Hi jazz guitar friends all over the world, Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. This jazz guitar lesson is all about jazz intros. We'll cover turnarounds, phrases from the head, whole sections, and newly composed intros. I'll show you examples from well-known jazz standards so you know how to apply these intros. This lesson is available as a PDF with all the examples, all the intros, plus a little recap of each of the intro ideas. And you can download it from the description box below the video. All right, let's dig into jazz intros. The easiest and most common way to create an intro for a jazz tune is the turnaround. The turnaround is a 2 to 4 bar chord progression that leads us to the first chord of the actual tune. Let's say the song's first chord is C major 7. Then a regular turnaround looks like this. C major, that's the first degree of the scale. Then the 6th degree, that's A minor 7. The 2nd degree of the scale, that's a D minor 7. And the 5th degree of the scale, G7 or G13 in this case. And this is the 5 chord of the C major scale, and it leads us back. The 5 chord always leads us back to the 1 chord. So we have, you can play this half bar or whole bar. Depending on what you want, depending on the tune. You can also repeat this, so you can play it twice. And this is a regular vintage turnaround. And I would use this kind of turnaround on tunes tunes of the vintage era, swing era, like I Got Rhythm, for example. That was in B flat because I Got Rhythm is in B flat. All right, let's take a look at a more modern variation. The 5 chord creates a lot more tension if we alter it. So let's do that. In our vintage turnaround, we had a G13. We altered by moving our pinky in there, and we get a G7 flat 13 or sharp 5. That's about the same. All right, we can also change our 6th chord. It was a minor 7, and we can make it dominant to A7 and also alter it. So we have A7 flat 13. And this is actually the kind of turnaround that has been introduced in the 40s with the bebop area. So what we get is C major 7, A7 sharp 5, D minor 9 I would play now because this leads better voice leading, and then a G7 sharp 5. You can play this half bar again or full bar. And leads back to the 1 chord, the first chord of the actual tune. If you want an even more modern sound, you can replace all dominant chords by other dominant chords, a tritone apart. Let's look at that. All right, the first altered chord, first dominant chord was the A7 sharp 5 in our last turnaround. Now a tritone from A is an E flat. It's always 1 to the right on the next string. So I exchange the bass notes only, and what I get is an E flat 9. That's basically the same with a different sound though. But it's just 1 note difference. Then we go to the D minor 9, and then I do the same thing for the G altered, and G tritone apart gives us a D flat, and that's a D flat 9 chord. So what we get is C major, E flat 9, D minor 9, D flat 9, and we resolve to, I would say not to G7, major 7 now, but to maybe C6, 9. That resolves better, but that depends on the tune. Play that half bar, or full bar. We can also replace the first degree of our turnaround by the third. And the third one of the C major scale is an E minor 7. I play an E minor 9 chord, even though the third degree would actually shape an E minor flat 9. But usually we don't care. I tell you why in a second. Then I play that tritone from the A. That's the E flat 9, then a D minor 9, and then the tritone from the G, that's the D flat 9. Now I have a perfect voice leading. E minor 9, E flat 9, D minor 9, D flat 9, and I resolve to C6, 9. That E minor 9 and that E flat 9 form a 2-5 progression. Remember that E flat still is for A, so we have a 2-5, 2-5 actually. And that's why I can use the 9 on the E minor 9 chord, because it's not really a 3-6, 2-5, but a 2-5, 2-5. Weird, eh? So what if your first chord of the tune is a minor chord? That's a little trickier because we have a minor chord on the 2nd degree, on the 3rd degree, and on the 6th degree. It's usually not the 3rd degree. Let's assume we're on the 6th degree, then you have a classic minor tune, like a minor blues, for example. You also make a 1-6-2-5, but you have different chord qualities. The 1, of course, would be minor, we're in C minor. The 6th is a half diminished chord now. A is the 6th again, but half diminished. The 2 chord is D, because the 2nd degree of C is D, and it's half diminished as well. D half diminished, and the 5 chord is altered, has to be altered, otherwise the scale is wrong. Because C minor scale has an E flat and not an E. But that would sound wrong in your ears anyway, I hope. So you wouldn't do that. All right, you can do that half bar or full bar. You can also use an A7 altered chord instead of the A half diminished chord. So like before, we can also alter the 6th chord again, and we get this. A7 altered, D half diminished, G7 altered. And now you can apply all the tritone substitutes that I showed you in the previous chapter, and these would be for A half diminished or A altered the E flat, and for G the D flat. Now you get something like this: C minor, E flat 9, D half diminished, and D flat 9. All right? And resolve it to C minor 7 or C minor 9 would fit better, but usually the melody is not good with this, but more with the minor 7. Depends on what the first melody note of your tune is. Now, if your first chord is the 2nd degree of a scale, of a major scale, then what you do is you kind of flip the turnaround around. You flip the turnaround around. We're in the key of C major, but our first chord in the song is a D minor, 7, 9, whatever. So you play a 2, 5, 1, 6 now. 2 is the D minor. Let's play 9. 5 is the G7, 13. 1 is a C major. And the 6th should be altered now, definitely altered. A7 altered, because this one leads us back to D minor, the first chord of your song. So A7 leads back to D. It resolves a fifth below. So what you get is one more time maybe. Last chord of the turnaround always needs to resolve. Okay, so that 6 resolves to the D minor. Of course, you can apply all the previous learned things like altering, for example, the G7 chord. This would give us D minor 9, G altered, C major 7, A altered, back to D minor. Or you could try to substitute your altered chords. This would give us for the G, a D flat, C, and E flat for the A, and back to D. Just use everything you've learned so far, and I've written down all these examples, all the possibilities of the turnarounds in the PDF file, which you can purchase from down below in the description box. Now let's check how we can incorporate the melody into the intro. The last phrase of a section is a great way to do this. Now let's create an intro for Fly Me to the Moon. The last phrase of Fly Me to the Moon is something like, in other words, I love you. So we take that phrase, somebody like the sax player plays this phrase, and we play the chords. In other words, F minor, B flat 9 sus 4, I love you. And then the original tune already has a 2-5 in the last bar, D half diminished to G altered, that leads us to the first chord, which is a C minor, and that's the 6th degree of the scale. So 2, 5, 1 in minor or 6 in major. All right? In other words, I love you. Fly me to the moon. All right? So this would be a good intro for Fly Me to the Moon. Let's check another one. Here's an example for Satin Doll. We take that last phrase of the song again. This is spans over 4 bars. Let's listen to that first. The last phrase is and then it has another bar until it starts. All right, the chords for this are A half diminished, D7 flat 9, and the thing is, it starts on the one end. So we have kicks. The rhythm section plays along with the melody, and this is called kicks. Then we have A flat minor 7 and D flat 9. And then there's the resolution, C6 9. But this is not the first chord of the song. We have another bar to fill, and then the first chord of the song is D minor. All right? So how do we get to D minor? That's the 2nd degree of the song. The song is in C major. And as we learned, our turnaround is 2-5-1-6. The thing is, the resolution chord was C major, so I can't play 2-5-1-6 because the 2 chord is not C major but D minor. So I can't play that, but the last bar I can play at least that 6th chord, that A altered, that leads us to the D minor first chord of the song, of the actual song. All right, so this intro has everything in it. The kicks, and now it's the actual chord. All right, what we can do to make it a little more exciting is we repeat that kick section because it's so fabulous. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And song starts. And and so on and so forth. We can use a whole section as an intro. For example, All of Me has a really nice C section, the last 8 bars of the head. That's where the melody climbs up. You took the part that once was my heart. So why not use this as an intro? And here are the chords. Here's a good angle. You, F major 7, took the part, F minor 7, that once, E minor 7, was my heart, A7 sharp 5, D minor 7, G13, okay? You took the part, that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? And now we have the C6. But this is not the resolution. The first bar, it's also a C6, but we still have 2 bars to go. So what can we do with 2 bars of major, of a 1 chord? Let's add a turnaround in, as we learned. 1, 6 would be A7 altered. I do the modern one, even though that's a vintage song actually. Yeah, I still do the modern one. D minor is the 2nd degree, and G7 altered is the 5th. So this would give us half bar. And here's the first bar of the song. So let me play that whole thing for you. Da, 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 na, 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 na. So why not take all of me? All of me. And here's the song beginning. All right. Another example of using an entire section as an intro is Afternoon in Paris. It has a very distinctive B section with a pedal G bass and a kicks being played on beats 2 and 4. The whole band plays on beat 2 and 4. So I'm going to use the entire B section, which is 8 bars long, as an intro. And it has the bass note is always a G. So it's a D minor first with G and bass, which is actually nothing else but a G9 sus4. Then it goes to a regular G9. That's the B string open, by the way, no E string. Then the C, and then the A minor with the G and bass, and A minor 7 with G and bass. All right? Da 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 da. Song starts, and so on and so forth. So I think that's just a really good way to do that. Just copy the whole B section because it's so very distinctive. Take a distinctive part of the song and use it as an intro. Of course, you can compose an intro from scratch. All the Things You Are is often played with an intro that has no reference to the song. And this is how it goes. And so on. The thing is, it has a 5 chord at the end. Right? It goes from the C sharp 9, resolves to the F minor. So there is a sense in that, it's reasonable. There's a sense in that intro, but it has no reference to the melody. Just compose something. 8 bars, 16 bars. Yeah. I hope my tutorial on jazz intros gave you some input to create your own intros. I see you next week. I hope you like my video. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you don't want to miss out on new videos, don't forget to hit that little bell notification. See you next week. Bye-bye. Ciao.